Love Leveling Up with Nicole Smith on the RSA Regal is. This show has been pre-recorded.
Hi, friends. Nicole Smith, executive producer here. Just want to give you a heads up. We had some technical difficulties on this episode, but the content was so good, we just didn't want you to miss out on it. So be patient with us and just enjoy this beautiful conversation with Nicole and Rachel. Have a good day.
Welcome to Leveling Up with Nicole Smith. Today's episode is about minding your business. I am a leadership coach, business owner of JMS Creative Leadership Solutions. And ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, I have a very special guest with me today. I'm so excited. I have Mrs. Rachel Noble. Woo, woo, woo. She is a fabulous human being, an all-around beautiful person, business and beautiful woman, wife, mom, sister, friend, and all those other wonderful labels we can place on her. I think she'll claim them. She's also a business coach, but I'm going to let her tell you the impact she has on the world. So, hey, Rachel.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, girl. I'm so glad you're able to join me.
You are
today.
like the sweetest thing ever. First of all, I just need to say that. And I met Nicole through a local organization that we are a part of.
Yes.
And as soon as Nicole walked through the door, I'm like, that lady, I love her
Yes.
already. And you have really, like, literally lived up to
Oh,
that.
thank you so much.
So I am so proud of you and everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I am overly honored that you have asked me to come
Yes.
in today to
Absolutely.
speak to everybody out there. And so, as she mentioned, I am Rachel Noble, and I am a business owner of 18 years of a private child care center that I share with my husband from our hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We recently moved here to Charlotte a few years ago, and in the middle of that, I had become a business coach for women with basically helping them to find their business.
Yes. Mind your business.
Yes, so that's what actually helped develop She's Ready Inc., which is a platform specifically for women to help them build their small businesses and run them like large corporations.
Yes.
So we look at the organizational strength of their business, the advertising and marketing and what that takes,
Yes.
and then also focusing on leadership, looking at themselves as a whole from top to bottom. Because listen, we're not perfect,
No, we're not.
and you have to get yourself together.
You have to get that mindset
You
right.
have
As I
to.
said, mindset is everything. You have to get that mindset right.
It's so much in everything.
Yes.
And so I do that. And then I also take a small time and I'm building something for women too to help them just to develop themselves and their self-esteem
Absolutely.
as well. So
That's such empowering. And today we need to uplift, everyone, but we need to uplift women. And you and I have spoken about how there's enough sun to shine on everyone. But we've also spoken about, and this goes along with minding your business, is finding your identity, who you are, your brand, and how you want to show up.
exactly.
In the community, or as I say, make an impact on the world. So I love what you're doing. It is so empowering. But like you said, minding your business, having that mindset. And, Rachel and I speak a lot. I like to say we're friends as well.
Absolutely.
We call each other, we vent, we fuss, we celebrate, we laugh. but that just goes all into minding your business. So I just want to hear your story. You weren't always a business owner. No, you were in what we call the corporate world. So just briefly tell the audience how you moved out of the corporate world into, running multiple businesses, multiple successful businesses, but just how you made that transition because there's a lot of people out there that are trying to do the same and they just don't know that first step. So share with us.
Absolutely. And so, and again, thank you for, opening your platform for that. So, I'll start from the very beginning, actually. While I was in undergrad, a really long time ago, I don't
Not
say
that
my
long
age.
ago, my friend. Not that long ago.
So I was in undergrad, and originally I wanted to go to school for mass communication, journalism. I wanted to be a news anchor. I wanted to be on the news, and I wanted to tell everybody about what was going on the news.
And my friend, she has the persona. She wants to look for the news,
Oh my
journalism,
God.
being on TV. Absolutely.
I wanted to do that. So I started putting things in place when I was in undergrad. Like I was a part of a modeling agency, so I did a lot of commercials, did a lot of voiceovers, did a lot of print work, things like that. It was awesome. It actually helped pay my way through college, and I paid for my own vehicle.
Yeah.
My parents did not have to buy anything for me. So I'm trying to set these stones in place early on because I knew what I wanted to be, and I wanted to be a journalist. And as I started doing journalism and everything, I noticed that I liked it, but I wasn't in love with it. So there were some other things that I ended up doing, and I ended up with a bachelor's in communication. And communication was like a broad spectrum of just the things that I like to do, how I like to speak to people, human resource aspects, just PR, all of those types of things. So once I graduated, and actually I was walking across campus with a baby in my belly.
Oh.
Yes, our my husband and I actually had our son. I was 21 years old, and so I'm walking across campus. And when you're young like that, and you are a person that's like, I would say like not necessarily popular, but people know you and they know who you are. And not that you have made a mistake, but you are not perfect. And people can see that you're not perfect because you're walking across campus with a suitcase and a baby. And suitcase because I didn't want to hear enough of that.
Okay.
And so I ended up having my son, but still graduated on time. Whereas those same people that were doing that little chitter chat, they haven't graduated. Okay. So I'm still what? Minding my business already. So I ended up graduating, and before I started grad school, I started working at the newspaper, which is the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. It's the top journalism agency in Wisconsin. And so I started working in some of the smaller areas of journalism or whatever, just trying to get my feet wet and what was going on. I ended up moving up the ladder and getting into sales. So when I got into sales, it was more so for large corporations and looking at the perspective of paying for their recruitment needs. So we had partnered with Monster, and at this time, I had sold one of the largest packages in the history of the Journal Sentinel and made them a buku loads of money, okay? Like hand over fist, to the point that they had to actually change the commission structure of how they paid their sales reps.
Okay, boss.
So that's kind of like how it was starting. And so in the middle of this, I'm like, okay, I have something here. I know what it is that I'm doing. I'm a top rep, like all this stuff. It's time for me to apply for just a supervisor position. At this time, I had already graduated with my master's. They had did tuition reimbursement, everything. I'm looking at how am I using this master's degree to help this company.
Right.
So I'm thinking about, helping myself with this degree, but I'm still thinking about this company, right? And so, yes, closed the sales, all these other things, the commission structure, they actually had to pay me over a course of 2 years
Wow.
for the commission for that one
Wow.
company. And so what I did, instead of spending the money on the best bag
Okay.
and the best shoes
Right. Mind your business.
and the
Mind
best
your business.
hair,
Yes.
what I ended up doing was giving all of that money to my husband to help build what we have today in our center, because
Okay.
he actually is the one that started the daycare center.
Okay.
And at that time, it was just a small home. We had a duplex, and we lived downstairs, and he ran the daycare center upstairs by himself.
Okay.
With it was him and it was an assistant, and they just ran the daycare every day, and it was 8 students. Okay.
Wow. So I just 8 students. How many do you have today?
Over 200.
Okay. All right.
That's how it started. So when I'm minding my business, I'm giving him this because we're looking at our future and whatever. And so the idea was for him to run the daycare, however it was going to be, or whatever dreams and aspirations he had. And then my goal was to soon be a director at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel.
Okay.
What ended up happening was the director, when I applied for the position, he had already hired one of his friends from Minnesota.
That's the way it always happens.
That's the way it always happens. They had an expense account for him, a home or apartment, whatever, already paid for him. He traveled from Minnesota to Wisconsin every week, and because there were some things that he did not know, there's somebody that they have to call into the office to ask those questions to, and that person was me. And I said, "Oh, sir, you have the position. You tell me what I'm supposed to do."
But isn't that the way it always works, though?
Yeah.
That we have the knowledge, we have the credibility, we have all the measures behind our name, but we continue to get overlooked. But then they want us to train the person that they put into the place. And they don't understand. People don't understand how devaluing
that is. And not only was it heartbreaking, it internally messed with me, because I started thinking, what is wrong with me?
Ooh, imposter syndrome may have set in.
Exactly. It definitely set in.
Right.
And so I allowed them to make me feel like something was wrong with me.
Okay. I think you said a key word there. You allowed them. Because I want to say probably those years ago, that confidence, that self-regard really wasn't there just yet to understand who you were. And so you allowed them to hold you back, thinking, oh, okay, they'll eventually reward me for something.
They'll eventually do it. I mean, how could they not? But honestly, if this is a person who knows the job forwards and backwards and has made you, again, hand over fist income to the point that you have to change your commission structure and you don't hire them, that's a loss for them.
Right.
And I know that now. So what ended up happening is I said, you know what, this is not going to work out for me. And I spoke to my husband, and I was so afraid to step out and to actually leave my whole career. Because this started from a young child of wanting to be on TV, or wanting to be on journalism, wanting to do all of these things and manifesting all this stuff. And then I ended up leaving and being so afraid and crying at night. And I said to my husband, you know what I'm going to do is take everything that I've learned in corporate America, and we are going to put it into this center.
Okay, that's one of the first notes of minding your business. Okay, so I want to say the second note. The first note was the money you received in bonuses and commission and so forth. You invested that money, not in purses and bags and shoes and cars and so forth. You was saying, okay, my husband, my partner, someone that I trust, I'm going to allow him to take this bonus money and use it to invest in a business that I see in our future. Okay, so number one in finding your business is around finances. And we can
Yes.
talk about that a little bit more. But how are you going to get started in your business? It takes money to make money.
It does.
Okay. So then the second note was, you know, stepping out on faith, and deciding to, help your husband run this business.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that was a shift in your mindset, but to add on to that, you decided to everything you've learned from the corporate world. My friends, this is where you can take those skills, right, that you've learned from the quote corporate world and bring it over into your business. Mm-hmm. Again, minding your business. Mm-hmm. You don't have to know everything, but just taking those lessons learned. So two good points I just wanted to call out, because you're smart, you're intelligent, mm-hmm, and we tend to think we can only use that intelligence in the corporate world.
Exactly.
No, you can use it in your own business.
You
can
can.
use it in your own business.
And it actually takes, I mean, when you have your business and you're starting your business, you have to understand, like, yes, you are smart, you are intelligent, you have this. Business is not for everybody.
No,
so I definitely want to put that disclaimer
no,
out there.
ma'am.
You have to know, like, what you're doing. There are some parts, honestly, that my husband is stronger in than me.
Yes.
And then there are parts that I'm stronger than him. Yes. But that's that even balance.
But even so, when you run your own business, and just let's say it's not your spouse, that's your partner, mm-hmm, just you partner with other individuals.
Yeah.
Know your strengths. Yeah. But also to be aware of your skill gaps, or as they say, weaknesses. I don't like to use that word, but just your skill gaps. Lean into your strengths, but also know who to lean on, mm-hmm, for those skill gaps.
Right.
We don't know everything when you decide acting like you do. Mm-hmm. All right. So if you're strong in the details, and you're the one that likes all those Excel spreadsheets and numbers and data, mm-hmm, and your partner is not that strong in that area, but they're strong somewhere else, this is where you lean on each other.
Right.
For that, don't sit here and expect your partner now to know how to use Excel and move the numbers around and so forth. You have to lean into those strengths. So that's perfect. That's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as we started, building this business, and I just took everything that I learned from undergrad, grad, from corporate America, and implemented it in, and I figured out what other centers were lacking in and what they didn't do, and then I did a SWOT analysis, folks.
Oh, tell everyone what SWOT stands for. I love it.
So I'm looking at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats that comes into your business compared to others. So I'm looking at these other centers, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that?
Right.
Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I wasn't going on vacation.
Okay, so again, my friends, minding your business. When you see entrepreneurs or business owners in their marketing, and you see them sitting beside a pool, and you see them, on the view of a balcony, and they have their laptop, and they say, "This is my work view today. Mm-hmm. Do you want to be like this? And join my team or join my coaching program, and I'll help you leave the corporate world in 6 months, and this is what, mm-hmm, you'll have." I'm going to say, please be cautious of that, because when you jump out of the corporate world, or people that come to myself or Motivational say they want to jump out of the corporate world, I say, how much money do you need each month, mm-hmm, to survive? Do you have 6 months worth of savings? Because there's going to be months where, I made 5 figures, 6 figures, whatever it may be, but then the next month, you may have no income coming in because you're trying to get your business going.
Absolutely.
So when you see the marketing and you're sitting by the poolside, or you see them in a cabana and so forth, that's probably 5-10 years into, mm-hmm, their business. Mm-hmm. That's not something, they didn't leave those big corporate jobs, and then the next month they're sitting there. So I don't want anyone to see the illusion, to see the pretty side of it and think, oh, I'm going to have that. It takes work.
It does.
It takes self leadership. For you to then be able to build and maintain relationships, and then to lead others. There's so much that goes into running a business, and it's not just sitting poolside. And you don't want to have your computer sitting by the pool anyway, because it might fall in. So you don't. But no, I want you to step back and think about what does it take to mind your business and to have a successful business. And this is where you're going to have to forego vacations, cars, purses, bags, hairs, whatever it may be. Just be cautious of that when you're starting out.
And you know what, Nicole? I wish that I had you
Oh,
back then, because honestly, we're just two young kids trying to make it.
right.
We just knew that we didn't want to be broke.
Broke.
And we knew that we didn't want our kids to grow up being broke or living paycheck to paycheck or just not having.
Something you said on one of your podcasts that you did, episodes you said, I don't come from generational wealth, but my children will.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I say that because the way that my husband and I grew up, yes, we have morals and values. We were groomed by great families, but the income that in order to live and to survive in America and to have like the life of luxury that you want, it takes hard work and dedication to get there.
Right. You have to have a specific money mindset. Not having that poverty mindset. I never want to say the word I'm broke.
Mm-mm.
Take that out of your vocabulary. You and I have talked about, being afraid of money or fear of success.
Yes.
When you get there, what are you going to
What are you
do
gonna
with
do
all
with that?
this?
Mhm.
But again, my friends, it takes time, and you have to make sure you mind your business, because if you don't mind your business, you will have no business.
Absolutely.
So I want you to talk a little bit. You have a staff. You have people that work under you that you value. But just give a few little nuggets or tips in regards to the good, the bad, the ugly of expectations of your staff and the things you just have to do to mind that business and make sure that they are representing your business well.
Absolutely. So it really starts from the very beginning, and we'll segue this into the other platform that I was able to build, which is She's Ready Inc.,
Okay.
and how that helps women with building their businesses
Okay.
and basically minding them.
Absolutely.
Because it does start from you and your mindset and who you are as a person, but you have to look at the way that you first place your employment ad, and your expectations start there. Once you start those expectations, people will read the job description and understand, like, can I make it here or I can't? So you're already setting the tone for you, your company, your culture, and what you expect.
And this is for any organization,
This is for
not,
any
not just a
organization.
small business.
No.
My corporate friends.
Yes, please.
Please, take notes. Take notes.
This starts in the beginning. And so after that employment ad, then comes the interview. When they come into your business or when they come into your domain or your area, how do they feel when they walk through the door? That starts with that customer service. That's how you're training your administrative team of how you're making them feel. Is that part organized? Are their resumes ready? Is everything copied? Is it set to go? You're ready to start your interview. When you're starting your interview, you're asking behavioral interview questions. Please do not just ask questions. Asking behavioral interview questions actually gives you a different aspect of how that employee is going to work and if they're going to be a fit or not
Yes.
in your climate and your environment of your business.
And the behavior interviews fall in line with emotional intelligence, my friends, where you can get a sense of their values, their identity, how are they going to lead themselves
Absolutely.
in the business, how they're going to represent themselves.
Exactly.
Behavioral, I'm a big fan of behavioral.
Yes. Once you finish that and you decide to hire somebody, your onboarding process is also very important.
Absolutely.
So the way that you're training people, you're training them to work and to be able to communicate in your climate. So what I do is I like to partner certain people with our newbies.
Mentors.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're small little mentors to help them and to gain them up to speed and momentum because that particular business in particular is very fast paced.
Right.
And like I said before, either you're going to make it or you won't. And that right there is what we're talking about. Either you're going to make it or you don't.
But one thing I want to note, onboarding, and this is where I'm putting my human resource hat on, if they do not have a good onboarding experience, they will leave within 6 months if their onboarding experience is not up to par.
Right, and because this particular industry is a high turnover industry, we have to be very careful and selective in what we're doing and how we're making people feel, but then also holding them accountable. So let's talk about that accountability.
More of the best of leveling up.
Accountability for your staff, which is huge. So explain that a little bit.
Definitely. In one of my interview questions, I go in and tell them all of our expectations and what we expect. And I say, now that you know my expectations, what are your expectations from your employer?
Wonderful.
And the reason why I ask that is so that I can hear them say, well, I just want them to treat me with respect. Or I just want them to know, like, I'm working hard, and if I'm not doing something right, let me know.
Right.
And then you have some that are saying, well, sometimes I have to call in because my baby might be sick or this, that, and the other. And that's how I'm able to pick and choose individuals that's going to be right for my floor and individuals that are not. So a lot of women were coming up to me and saying, like, Rachel, I've seen your business, I've seen your business grow to where it is right now. Can you help me?
Right.
Can you help me with that?
And that's what we should be doing.
Yes, help your sisters.
Yes, instead of being petty or hating because someone else is doing well, walk up to them and say,
Nicole,
girlfriend, what are you doing?
Listen,
I need to do what you are
Nicole,
doing.
I'm going to hate on your skin because it's so beautiful. It's flawlessly like you are so put together every single day. Nicole, from the first time I saw you, I loved your smile. I loved your hair. I love the way that you dress, the way that you speak, everything. It's okay for me to say those things to Nicole.
Okay.
You want to know why? Because I know who I am.
Absolutely.
And it's okay for me to compliment you. I will not die.
Say it again for people that you know who what?
I know who I am.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so it's okay for you to help other women.
Yes.
And so that is what really birthed She's Ready.
Okay, good. So I love the She's Ready Inc. and what that is about. So just in 2 sentences, or as I say, your offer. If I was to say, what is She's Ready Inc. Real quick, what is it?
In one word?
No.
Or just a sentence,
Two,
basically?
3 sentences?
It is definitely to help that woman to execute her business flawlessly.
Yes.
So that is looking at her operational strengths, like we were talking about with that interviewing, with that employee handbook, with that onboarding process, with all of those things, taking care of your taxes.
Yes.
Because a lot of us, we want to look cute and we want our businesses to look cute and all those other things, but we're not taking care of the financial and the business aspect in order to grow your business.
Doing what? Minding your business.
And then the next step that we fully focus on is looking at the brand and looking at your company's brand, and we're also looking at your marketing, which are 2 totally different things.
Yes.
When people hear the name of your company, what do they associate it with? It's not just about colors. It's not just about the font. What is the brand
Right.
that your company is known for?
Yes.
And so once you figure that out, you're able to market to that specific audience that's going to bring the money into your business.
Know your audience.
Know your audience,
business.
know your
audience.
niche.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, know your niche.
And then from that, I also help them looking at themselves as leaders.
Yes.
So that's me looking at myself. Even me, with being in entrepreneurship for 18 years, I had to learn how to separate my feelings because at the end of the day, I'm still minding my business. I have to terminate somebody, and I like this person.
Oh.
But I have to terminate them because they're not a good fit for what I'm doing for my company.
So a good fit for your team's identity, how you want your team to show, as well as the culture. And this is where I tell individuals as leaders, you are the emotional thermostat of your organization. You create the climate.
Absolutely.
So, one, you have to step back, like you said, and do that SWOT analysis of yourself to see what you're bringing to the table. Then it creates your team's identity, creates that culture. And sometimes people are just not a right fit for that culture. And it's okay. It's like I said, I'm not for everyone. My business is not for everyone. And so we just have to sit back and say, you know, members of the team are not a good fit. We wish you well. And whatever I can do to help you go forth along your path, let me know.
Health and liability, you make time for everything else. I want you to make time for your self care. So that's looking at your vacations, that's looking at your spa days, still making sure that you're getting your pedicures and you're getting your manicures.
Or just resting.
Or just resting.
Just
I
resting.
just told you, Nicole, just yesterday, I sat on the couch and I did absolutely nothing. And it's okay. It's okay for you to do that. Do not feel lazy because you have to lay on the couch that day.
Your body's telling you that you need to.
Absolutely, do that. And if it's time for you to go and, have some fun with your spouse, do it.
Do it, girl.
Okay.
Girl.
That's the best self care you can have.
Yes, right. So, Rachel, tell everyone, how they can contact you.
Yes. So everyone, you can follow me at She's Ready Inc. If you want to look at my website, it's www.shesreadyinc.co. If you are in the Charlotte area and you are hungry, if you are at any type of winery, brewery, neighborhood, you're having a special event, a swag 16, a birthday party, whatever it is, check out our Gourmet Eats food truck. That's at Gourmet Eats. If you want to follow it online or figure out the calendar, it's www.gourmeteats.com. You'll be able to see those things and check out our calendar and see where we are. People absolutely love us. The food is so good.
The food is good.
And it's
good.
Wisconsin cheeses, and it's
yes.
oh my gosh, it's so good. So it's Wisconsin cheeses mixed in with Charlotte. So this when those two states collide from where we were and where we are now,
Absolutely.
and just serving the charlatans here.
Yes, yes. So, Mrs. Rachel Noble, thank you so much, sweetheart.
Thank you for having
You
me.
are, like I said, isn't she a beautiful person? And just want to say, a beautiful human being, because just all around, I just, her energy and just being in her space
Thank you,
is
Nicole.
something special. It is very something special. So, thank you for joining us today. Rachel, again, thank you so much. But thank you for joining us at Leveling Up with Nicole Smith. I am leadership coach, emotional intelligence coach, JMS Creative Leadership Solutions. You can go to my website, jmscreatesleaders.com. Until next time, my friends, make sure you lean into your greatness so you can level up. Everyone take care.
Rebirth Voice. Listen to with Nicole Smith every Sunday. The Weekend Vibe season premiere